So everyone, and welcome to more How Good Are More Swimsuit characters, because we haven't done all of them yet, and now we're getting to the most recent swimsuits, because in 2020 there were actually 3 swimsuits. One of them I've already done, Reina and Kaede, but we're still missing Mami and Sakurako, who was the surprise 3rd swimsuit unit that we got this year. But we're gonna start out with Mami, who we see has a broken back in her 4-star art, but at least has a spine in a 5-star card art. So her discs are, at least, she's finally gone away from the charge discs, and she has embraced Excel Blast because it's just a better combo. Her personal is okay. You see it's like 30% damage up versus enemies inflicted with Status Aimants. This is actually pretty good, if you can assure that the enemy has Status Aimants on it. Will that be the case? We'll find out. Her stats are really good on the offensive side, and she at least still has some defensives, but still not that great. She doesn't fall over as quickly as other mummies, so that's way better. But she's still more on the squishy side. But the more important part is that she has attack, and yeah, that she's really good at having attack. Her connect gives attack up, and then just a whole bunch of Status Aimants. So you remember this right here, damage up versus Status Aimant inflicted. That's got you covered. However, keep in mind that if you connect with someone, you're probably giving a Puella combo to someone else, so someone else is going to attack a target that is full of Status Aimants, and I assume all of these only last for 1 turn, so you yourself are not going to be able to take any sort of effect from this Memoria. But that will change. There's more to this. So how good is it actually to have this connect? Skill Seal doesn't really matter too much, but Fog is not that great of an effect, but you still have the bind. So because there's 3 different Status Aimants, you're probably gonna hit at least one of them, even if the enemy has some resistances. And like I say, of course, if at least one hits, you're gonna get the bonus for that other characters might have. Like for example, if you play this with Holy Alina or Holy Mami, I think also has this. Also has the Addict Killer effect, where they do bonus damage to enemies inflicted with Status Aimants. What a name. So you can trigger that by getting some of these off. And of course, if the bind hits, you can stun an enemy for a turn, but 60%, not quite as reliable as you might want it to be. Like, in most cases, it will work. There will be cases where you fail to bind the one target that you wanted to bind, and it will be really sad. And Fog, I mean, the Fog is guaranteed, but like almost guaranteed. Of course, resistances still are in the mix, but Fog is one of the worst effects in the entire game, but at least it's some Status Aimant to trigger people's Addict Killer. What about the Magia? Oh, look at this. Attribute Strength and Damage, and she was released right before a Water-type Kimochi. Could it be that they specifically gave her Attribute Strength and Damage all enemies, so that people could roll for her for the Water Kimochi? So that she could kill the Water Kimochi as the best damage dealer? Yes, that's indeed what happened. So yeah, this is another setup for Kimochi, where she also has Burn for 3 turns, which is amazing because, of course, against the Kimochi, we want to have them afflicted with a level 2 Status Aimant for as long as possible, because a level 2 Status Aimant not only, of course, makes it so that your Addict Killer hits enemies for bonus damage, but also, of course, level 2 Status Aimant, which Burn is, makes it so that enemies take bonus damage from the element they're weak to. So by keeping this up on the Kimochi, you deal even more damage against them, and on top of that you get Attribute Strength damage, which multiplies and multiplies, and you do a ridiculous amount of damage, multiple millions easily. And not just that, you buff yourself 5 turns for Magia damage up 30% at Magia level 5. Isn't that kind of amazing? This is a character that is specifically built to absolutely destroy Water-type enemies with at least 2 Magia, because the first Magia won't get the bonus from the burn, it won't get the bonus from the Magia damage up, but the second Magia after that, while the enemy is still burning, will absolutely destroy them. But what if you wanted the enemy to burn before you use your Magia? Well, that's the active right here. Let's go over the Spirit Enhancement. Nothing too special on most of these notes. You do get some interesting notes though that are like bind on attack, cool, evade, awesome, chance to crit, whatever, regenerate MP. This is the only important one I would say, is you regenerate 9 MP per turn, which just helps you getting out more Magia. And for some reason 35% anti-evade. The reason why I say this is not that important is because this is a character who is more so built around using Magia, and of course Magia always hits. doesn't matter that the enemy might have an evade up, so this is kind of a wasted node in most cases. However, the active is it gives attack up 20% to self, which you would use before a Magia, but more importantly, also chance to burn, which you would also use before a Magia. So when you're about to use a Magia, you use this, you get 20% attack up, the enemy hopefully burns, which already makes it so you could use your active, for example, your personal, to get more 30% damage up versus enemies afflicted with status ailments, and another 20% attack up on top of that, and you do absolutely absurd damage, especially if the enemy is a water type, and you just delete water types basically. And if the enemy somehow survives that, I mean, this kills even EX challenge quests probably if the combo that I just described works. EX challenge quests with water type, they probably just explode immediately on that attack. If they somehow don't, you get Magia damage up, you can just do another Magia, and they definitely explode at that point. Apart from that though, she's very much dependent, super duper dependent on actually getting enemies to be inflicted with status ailments. If you're fighting against an enemy that has really high resistances against status ailments, guess what? Most of your kit is useless. Your Magia doesn't burn, your Connect doesn't do anything, your Active doesn't do anything, your Bind on Attack doesn't do anything. All of this is really built around getting ahead by afflicting enemies with status ailments, so I can basically give very much the same verdict that I also gave to Livia, where it's like, if you can assure that you can inflict the enemies with status ailments all the time, she's really amazing, especially against water type. However, in any other case, she's only decent at best. So she can fall off quite hard if you're not actually hitting the status ailment. And even if you do, I also need to say that if you're fighting against something that isn't water type, your damage is also only average and not really too much higher. And also, she doesn't really help the team other than afflicting status ailments. Like, outside of afflicting status ailments, she doesn't help the team at all with anything else. No lasting buffs, no other lasting debuffs, and that's also kind of something that you might need to keep in mind. She's more so of an egotistical kind of attacker. However, what if we actually wanted a support type? Here's a support type right here. It's Rumor of the 10,000 Years Sakurako musical version, or just Sakurako, Swim Sakurako even. First off, her personal is not great. Let's just skip it. She has 2 excel this, 2 charge this, uses support type, which means her stats are only average at best. She's a support type. Let's see what she does. Her Connect does damage increase and removes status ailments, which is terrible. This is actually really bad. Connect. At least it gives damage increase and not attack up, which is better in most cases. But remove status ailments is kind of a dead effect in a lot of cases as well. So this Connect isn't that great. It's really, really not that great. But yeah, whatever. Who cares about the Connect? We care about the Magia, right? This is a character who probably has a really good Magia, probably. It's an AoE Magia, at least it's AoE, because of course regular Sakurako has a single target Magia, which is kind of her biggest problem. But she does have an AoE Magia, which does the following. It removes status ailment, does I don't care, who gives a shit. More importantly, charged attack damage up. It's fine, but more so importantly, damage increase. You know how I said that Karin and Ao were both the 2 best supports in the entire game because they gave damage up on their Magia? And the only 2 that did that. The thing is, Sakurako gives damage increase, which is basically the same. She's the 3rd and only other character who does a damage increase or damage up on their Magia. Why do I usually not name Sakurako as one of the best supports in the entire game if she has that? First off, her Connect isn't that great. Secondly, the other effects on her Magia aren't that amazing. And thirdly, unlike the other 2 that I mentioned, she's not an Excel Gorilla, so she doesn't actually help herself or others get to Magia as fast. And also her charges might pollute the pool if you don't actually want them at any point. So that's usually why I don't say that she's as good as Karin or Ao. Karin and Ao are definitely both way better Connect, both way better other effects on Magia and better disc set. But that said, it's still really awesome to have the damage increase up here. But maybe her Spirit Enhance is really good. By the way, sorry guys, sometimes when I start streaming or when I start recording, my nose itches really, really hard and I just can't stop it. It's like itches like crazy, like it's on fire. I'm sorry about that. You can fog on attack, which lasts for 3 turns if it does hit. Something. That's something at least, especially really good actually, I guess, if it hits and you have other characters that have Addict Killer, like bonus damage on enemies inflicted with status ailments. Then you also have some charge disc damage up. Okay, it's fine. Anti-skill seal, anti-magia seal, making sure that you can keep operating. That's okay. That's something you want to have on a support. 50% skill quicken. Once again, you want to have that on a support. Sadly, no spells aiming resistance on here. That would have been really good as well. But at least you get some magia damage, some XLP gain up. It's something. But like I said, I probably would have enjoyed more so to have a spells aiming resistance, probably over the charge this damage up, because she's not really going to be played as a damage dealer too much. She's more so there to buff other people. But I guess you could potentially play her as a damage dealer because she has an AoE magia, and that's fine. Now, what else do you have? You have defense down on one enemy for 3 turns. That's alright if you're fighting against a boss to have 50% defense down for 3 turns. Against in any other case where you're not fighting a big boss, it's terrible. And even against a big boss, it's only alright. And it has light defense down. Oh, that's interesting. Basically, you get 18% bonus defense down if against the enemy, if the enemy is being attacked by a light type. So you put this on an enemy, and any attack that a light unit makes against that enemy will be treated as if the enemy had 18% more defense down. That's really good if you have a light type focused team. But once again, it's single target, so only if the enemy is indeed a dark type, and you can make use of that by having a big light team on a big boss and not multiple small units. So that said, overall, she's kind of a one-trick pony. Like, her damage increase on her magia is really good, but apart from that, she's kind of meh. Like, remove status ailments is not something that's too amazingly awesome in most cases. Like, sure, you'll find cases where it's going to be really, really good. Yeah, but it does nothing else. She just does that damage increase. Like, it's just nothing else, so that kind of sucks. So yeah, and her active isn't that great either. She literally is just there to give damage increase on her magia, which is fine, just totally fine, and just stand around otherwise. Yeah, could have done better, but at least she's still usable. She's still usable in some ways, and like I said here, personal, it's not really anything much to worry about. Once you give attack up, she's supposed to be more of a support, and her offensives are alright, but nothing too amazing. So you, like I said, you could play her as an attacker, but you probably don't want to. Yeah, that was it. I hope you guys enjoyed this. Hit the subscribe button, ring the bell, which is apparently important, and I'll see you guys next time.